Hello, fellow Ambazonians. Greetings, patriots, nationalists, and our fellow countrymen and women. The conflict in Ambazonia, it's a political design. The conflict in Ambazonia, the massacres in Ambazonia, the genocide in Ambazonia, the destruction of Ambazonian communities, towns, and villages, the destruction of neighborhoods, the slaughtering, the murdering of Ambazonians, the displacements of Ambazonians, the imprisonment of Ambazonians is by design to achieve political objectives. The Cameroon state under Paul Biya, the inability to create change, to transform the society, to meet basic human needs and provide basic social services. Their inability to provide basic security to their own citizens and citizens in the occupied territory. Their inability to create basic infrastructures to meet social, human needs. Let Mr. Biya to design conflicts, crisis, insecurity as a means to justify his existence, as a means for the CPDM fascist government to justify the purpose as to why they are in power and why they should continue to be in power. It's a well-calculated political move. So conflicts do not just spring up by themselves. Politicians take advantage of simple societal grievances and then they turn them into conflicts for political motives. Let's listen to a former United States ambassador to Nigeria about how Boko Haram came about. And then I will explain to all of you how the Biya's regime has used Boko Haram for its own political motives. Let's listen to Ambassador John Campbell.
The charismatic preacher, Mohammed Yusuf, established a large community at the Railway Quarter Mosque in Borno State's capital city of Maiduguri. Like other such teachers, his support came from the grassroots, but his followers also included some individuals from the very northern Nigerian Islamic establishment that it would subsequently seek to destroy. As did other radical reformers, Yusuf rejected modern science and Western education, in part because they are not anchored in a literalist reading of the Quran. In a recorded sermon at a Maiduguri mosque, he asserted that the earth is flat because the Quran and other early texts say nothing about it being round. In 2009, Yusuf's community transformed into a violent movement.
Let's stop
That
right there for a
year,
second.
some Boko
As you listen to Mr. Campbell, the former John Campbell, the former U.S. ambassador to Nigeria, is also the chief intelligence officer of the United States in Nigeria. Is the head of U.S. Secret Services in Nigeria as the ambassador. So as you listen about how Boko Haram came to be, also begin to examine your own erroneous beliefs and what they are also doing to you. Right on.
Boko Haram members confronted the police under very murky circumstances. A fight ensued, and several police officers were killed. The reaction was a police and military crackdown on the section of Maiduguri where Yusuf and his community lived. The security services killed an estimated 800 people. Yusuf was captured by the military and turned over to the police, who almost immediately murdered him. They also murdered several members of his family. The event was covered in real time by an Al Jazeera video that went viral on Nigerian social media.
Let's stop right there for a second. Remember Yusuf? That was the Islamic cleric who has started, who's leading a mosque. Is considered to be a religious leader, a traditional leader, a community leader with influence, tribal, and communal power. The community and his environment and that society, they look up to him for everything. He was captured, arrested, then murdered by the Nigerian military or the police, including his family members. He wasn't taken to court. No investigation was launched. No evidence were collected. He was murdered. What do you think that community that depended upon this leader, how would they feel with the tribal and religious divisions that exist, with the mistrust from the people and the government? Look at the gap that exists. Let's listen to what happened after the cleric and his family members were murdered. Let's listen.
After Yusuf's death, his followers reorganized under the leadership of his deputy, Imam Abubakar Shekau. Since 2010, the movement, with partners and accretions, has waged a bloody campaign against the secular state.
Stop
the
right
Council
there.
on Foreign Relations.
They've launched a bloody campaign against the secular state as acts of revenge. Okay? His followers and the leadership that followed, they launched a bloody campaign against the secular state as acts of revenge. Let's continue.
Nigeria Security Tracker estimates that Boko Haram has killed almost 11,000 people, and that there have been 25,000 people killed in the fighting between Boko Haram and the Nigerian state. Boko Haram singles out for killing soldiers, police, and government officials whenever it can. It also kills Muslims associated with the secular government who, it maintains, are no longer Muslims but infidels who, under Sharia, deserve.
All right. So, from Mr. Campbell, that gives you a foundation of the creation of Boko Haram.
The charismatic
Politicians in
preacher.
Nigeria will exploit the existence of Boko Haram for political gains. Politicians in Cameroon will exploit the existence of Boko Haram for political purposes. Politicians in Chad would exploit the existence of Boko Haram for political gains. They will help to spread Boko Haram, and Boko Haram gain support. It wasn't created by foreign agents, it was created by a Nigerian. Foreign networks, for their own political motives, will eventually become the primary sponsor and funders of Boko Haram. Let's watch video number 2.
We're there. Now, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. You could just read the Taliban is classified, and if you don't know, the Taliban's in charge of Afghanistan. They're classified as a.
Let's stop here for a second so that I can give up. What you're watching and listening, that's in the United States Congress. That's Congressman Scott Perry. This is 2025. That's Congressman Scott Perry providing in a session where they are doing question and answer to get clarity as how U.S. money is being used for political interest to fund terrorist networks across the globe. Let's listen.
Officially designated global terrorist organization by OFAC. So post 2021, so this is last year, 2024, we spent $697 million of the taxpayers' dollars in Afghanistan, including $534,719,000 in change from USAID in Afghanistan. I don't know what we think we're going to change in Afghanistan. We lost 22,000, lost or wounded 22,500 Americans in Afghanistan over the course of our term there in the war, spending over $2 trillion. We're just going to keep on spending because somehow we think it's going to get better. And if you're wondering who's in charge of Afghanistan getting the money, and that money I just mentioned, the $697 million is on top of, and is in addition to the weekly to every 10-day shipments in cash of $40 to $80 million. Afghanistan is ruled by folks named Sarayuddin Haqqani. The Haqqani network mean anything to anybody in the room? How about Abdullah bin Laden? Who gets some of that money? Does that name ring a bell to anybody in the room? Because your money, $697 million annually, plus the shipments of cash funds madrasas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ISIS Khorasan, terrorist training camps. That's what it's funding. If you think that the were there. Now,
All right. You hear that? You hear that? USAID, one of the agencies within the US government for foreign aids. They provide annually 697 million US dollars. And then on a weekly basis, they provide between 40 to 80 million dollars to the Taliban, controlled by the Akani networks, and including the son of bin Laden. According to Mr. Perry, part of that money, as Mr. Perry said, goes to fund ISIS and Boko Haram. Goes to fund what? ISIS and Boko Haram. Now, let's get politically to Ambazonia and Cameroon. Around 2010 to 2014, Mr. Biya's inability to develop Cameroon, to bring any meaningful change to Cameroon, Mr. Biya has to create and manufacture conflicts for political relevance to show that he's a strong man who's on a mission. By 2014, Boko Haram has started attacking the northern part of Cameroon. By this time, Boko Haram has grown and expanded and extended because of foreign support, as you must have heard, provided by government like the United States. Yes. Why? When we destabilize these regions using the infrastructures that already exist, which is Boko Haram, by destabilizing these regions, we create these conflicts, and then we go back to these countries to point to them that these are problems they must solve. And since they don't have the training, the intelligence, the knowledge, the machinery, the equipments, we provide the technology, we provide the machinery, we provide the training, we provide the intelligence, we provide the surveillance. So we create a problem. Since we already have products and services to sell, we take an existing problem and expand it and amplify it in order to create a market, and then force these governments to invest billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars, which are supposed to be for the development of their own people. Now we divert that money into artificial conflicts, which we amplified. Then we also tell them, hey, we are going to support you. We want you to become our partner. We will give you military aid to solve a problem we have created without your knowledge. This is how they create political power, and they take over these governments and integrate them into institutions and problems they created because they want to be solution providers to an artificial problem. And this government now are held captives. This is the situation in Cameroon. Boko Haram existed while Mr. Biya was the president of Cameroon. He made use of Boko Haram. The Cameroon intelligence services became part of Boko Haram. The Cameroon government is using Boko Haram. Mr. Biya, just like other international actors, Mr. Biya is using Boko Haram to justify his existence as the president of Cameroon. The Cameroon Intelligence Network, intelligence services, are using Boko Haram just like other external actors are using Boko Haram for the purpose to market products and military industrial services. Mr. Biya is using Boko Haram as a political tool to justify his existence and why he created the bees. The Cameroon bees, the force today that has become part of Boko Haram, the terrorist force trained by the United States, by the British, by the Israelis. And by the way, the Cameroon government also used to receive part of that USAID money to fund the bees. It begins to make sense now, right? Some of the money goes to Boko Haram, and some of the money goes to fund the bees. Very interesting, right? So the Cameroon government, Mr. Biya, created the bees as a force to fight the same Boko Haram he is part of. They didn't create the bees to fight Boko Haram. It's a mask. It's a deception. They created the bees to use it as a force to maintain Mr. Biya in power. They are using Boko Haram as the mask, the deception, the manipulation, as the mirror. The purpose of the bee is to maintain Biya's grip in political power. They manufactured the conflict in Ambazonia to justify Biya as a president who is on a mission to solve a problem. Just as they artificially created the conflict in northern Cameroon using Boko Haram, they created the conflict in Ambazonia as a means to justify why Mr. Biya should be in power, because there is a problem for Mr. Biya to solve. Because there is a problem, only Mr. Biya can solve that problem. Only Mr. Biya can fight Boko Haram because he created the bees. He wants to make Cameroon strong. He wants to make Cameroon one and indivisible. So he has a problem in the north to solve, an insecurity problem, and he has a problem in Ambazonia to solve, an insecurity problem. Isn't that interesting? So they artificially create these conflicts, kill millions of people, destroyed thousands of villages, displaced millions, burn down homes, all to stay in power. We're bringing all of this to help you to understand what is really behind all these conflicts. Now, we don't have much time. I have about 4 more minutes. I'm going to wrap it up very quickly. We'll probably come back to this discussion. Let's go to video number 3, please. In the far north region, the kingmakers and the traditional elites who controls power. Video number 3, please. Let's give them some time, please. So just like Boko Haram in the north, the conflict in Ambazonia is also artificially created to justify to the Cameroonian people why Mr. Biya should continue to be. Thank you. The people you see on the screen, those are the traditional elites. Those are the religious elites. Those are the kingmakers. Those are the people and persons and personalities and royalties that are benefiting from the conflict. These are the people that holds power in the extreme north, the poorest region in Cameroon. More than 70% of the population do not even have elementary school education. So they use these traditional rulers to maintain their grip in power. These are the people that will guarantee Mr. Biya 100% election victory. It's not about voting, it's about the political structure of power that has been set up. Let us go to the southwest region, as Cameroon calls it, of Ambazonia.
Launch his campaign in the southwest in Kumba. And we want to assure you, don't be afraid. We have won already. CPDM will never lose again in Cuba. Whether it's presidential, whether it's council, whether it's parliament, whether it's senatorial, the time for losing has come to an end. Happy celebration. Hey, not the one, our parliament ruler is dancing with Madame, not seated behind her, a beautiful black lady behind there. Madame, please just walk to the parliament ruler of this town. Biya.
Video number 4, please. Manu, southwest region, Manu, Ambazonia. The traditional dance. Video, yeah, this one. All right, thank you very much. Just like the traditional elites in the far north, that is the base of power. Those are the kingmakers. They will guarantee Mr. Biya 100% electoral fraud. They will rig the election and guarantee 100% election victory for Mr. Biya. It's the only way for them to survive. It's the only way they have survived. It's their only source of power, wealth, fame. Change to them means a loss of power, a loss of wealth, a loss of fame, and a loss of their elitist class. That's the state of Manu in Ambazonia. Those traditional rulers are the kingmakers of the society. They own power, they control the population listens to them. They are all members of CPDM Central Committee. Their wealth, their fame comes from Mr. Biya. Their power, their elitist social class comes from Mr. Biya. They will guarantee Mr. Biya 100% election fraud. They will rig the election. They will guarantee 100% success for Mr. Biya. Why? Their future, their wealth, the wealth they've gotten, the positions they have, the power they have, their influence within the regime all comes from Mr. Biya. Conflict is a tool for political influence, for power, and for fame. And that's why they will do whatever it takes to make sure the fight Ambazonia. Once we have the basis of this understanding, once we understand the power structure in Ambazonia and how Mr. Biya is using the conflict for the purpose to remain in power, we will know how to fight better as a people. We'll come back to this discussion probably tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you, Isia. There are videos which we would have talked about the consequences of all of this, but we don't have much time, so we're out of time for today. We'll come back to this tomorrow.